Welcome to Leading with Light, a wellspring for the transformational leader that you were born to be, where you can fill up and align, gather and be inspired, and bring your vision to light. Guiding you towards your divine connection and limitless possibilities, here is your host, visionary leader extraordinaire, Sky Ahern. Poof.
Hello, transformational leaders. Welcome to this Love and Light Fest, your sweet spot for stepping up and getting your shine on. I'm your host, Sky Ahern, and you are listening to Leading with Light. Today's guest is Blake Brande. Dr. Blake Brande is a TEDx speaker, America's Got Talent performer, and a co-founder of the personal development company Motivational Millennial. With a PhD in hip-hop and global youth cultures, Blake has spoken to over 300,000 students, parents, and educators around the world, and presents growth mindset and grit assemblies to help students remix their reality. He is also an award-winning beatbox rapper and music producer who produced #1 radio songs in Europe and performed over 200 shows around the world, including the composer of the movie Moana and the hip-hop musical Hamilton with Lin-Manuel Miranda. Blake was the recipient of the Marshall Scholarship, one of the most competitive postgraduate awards in the world, and he regularly coaches young people on how to create lives filled with passion, resilience, and success. You can learn more about Blake at www.blakespeaks.com. That's BLAKE speaks.com. Welcome to the show, Blake.
Thank you, Sky. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
I'm so happy to see you today.
Likewise.
Hey, so that is quite the awesome bio. You have been around the block.
Thank you. It has been an epic journey. And growing up in rural North Carolina, I am also very surprised that I ended up doing what I'm doing at the moment.
I'm so good. That's really amazing. Well, I can't wait to dive in and go deeper with you. But before we begin, I'd like to start off the show with a little bit of a prayer, a little meditation, a little prayer. Is that okay with you?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. And we're just going to invite the listener right now. We're just going to invite you to take a moment and just settle in, find a comfortable place, and just center yourself in your heart and put your feet on the ground. And take a big deep breath in. And imagine breathing up this white sparkly light, this highest vibration of energy of all that is up through the soles of your feet, just filling up your whole entire feet and your ankles, up your calves and your knees, all the way up your thighs and your hips, up into your torso, into all of your organs, up the back of your spine, all the way up to your shoulders, and down into your arms and your hands. You just feel that tingling energy of creation, tingling at the tips of your fingertips, watching it pool into the palm of your hands, the palms of your hands, a beautiful ball of sparkly light. And look deep into that, co-creator. What is it that you want to create today and into your future with the highest vibration of all that is? You have everything that you need. And breathing that energy again up into your arms, into your neck, into your head. Imagine coming up out of your space in a beautiful ball of light, up past the trees, up past the clouds and the stars, past all of the planets in the universe, past the multiverse, and even higher. We're going to go higher. What's past the multiverse? Some dark lights. You're going to go up even higher past these white lights, wave into the angels, the masters, the gods, and the goddesses, going up even higher through this thick jelly-like substance, the laws of the universe. You're going to find this pink cotton candy-like energy. It's the law of compassion. Feeling that energy of compassion for yourself, looking back on the earth, you could just imagine sending that energy of compassion to the earth, wrapping the earth in that energy of compassion. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all have some compassion for ourselves and for others? And imagine turning forward and going deeper into this pink cotton candy-like energy until you see this window of white, sparkly, iridescent light with a little glacial ice blue around the corners and edges. You can imagine stepping in to this energy. And just as soon as you do, it just goes poof. And all around you, this white energy that creates all things, that life force energy, highest vibration of all that is. There's no fear here. You see yourself in your beautiful ball of light. Reach up out of your bubble and gather as much energy as you need, knowing that one atom of this energy is enough to create the whole entire universe. So it's surely enough to help you create anything you so consciously choose to create, and even unconsciously. So let's pay attention. What are we creating? And bring it into your bubble, fill up your whole bubble, knowing you're always supported. There's always plenty of love and support there for you, and into your crown of your head and filling up every cell in your body. And from here, we're going to pray, Mother, Father, God, creator of all that is, thank you for my life, Atanaha, all that is. Thank you for the life of Dr. Blake Brande, and for this opportunity today for us to be together and to share his love and his light with the world. Be with us today for our highest and best, inspiring all those around us to step further into their light and to lead with their light. Aho.
Oh,
How does that feel, Blake?
very energizing and grounding. And yeah, I think we could all use a lot of that compassion on a day-to-day basis for sure.
Yeah. You know, I've been doing that meditation for about 17 years. And I lead people on that on a regular basis. And every time I do it, I need it just as much. As it doesn't get old. It's kind of fascinating that it actually doesn't get old when you go deep into it. It's actually, you can go deeper and learn more and more and see and witness more each time you go. And it feels like a great reminder just to remember that we're not alone, that we have all the energy that we need, and we're freaking magical sparks of light.
We are, and Sky, you are such a magical spark of light. I am so grateful for the light you bring to the world.
Oh, thank you, Blake. Oh, I'm so grateful for the light that you bring to the world. So tell me, brother, how do you do? What do you do? And what brings you to the magnificence that you are in your day-to-day life?
Thank you. So, as far as what I do at the moment, I'm doing hip hop motivational assemblies in K through 12 schools across the country to help students be happier, less stressed out, and more resilient. And I speak a lot about growth mindset, which is this idea that even if students aren't great at something when they start, they can improve over time with the way their neurons grow and develop, neuroplasticity. And also, I talk about grit, about resilience in the face of challenges, disappointments, frustrations, and how often those are the best gifts if we can choose to look at them that way, and that they really do help us grow and eventually perhaps do what we love to do in the world. So I feel so much gratitude to be able to speak to so many students and educators and parents every year. And yeah, my own journey has definitely been that arc of not being great at it when I started, a lot of challenges and frustrations along the way, but eventually ending up in a place where I have the privilege of helping 100,000 students every year.
100,000 students every year. That's so exciting.
Thank you. It feels like such a privilege, and increasingly getting to speak to more educators and parents. You know, I know you have a incredible background yourself in education, and just being able to support teachers and educational professionals who are struggling, especially in public schools right now. It's a very challenging time to be in public education. So just to give them hope and to give them some energy and some light and some compassion. Really, a lot of the growth mindset is we are so hard on ourselves so often about ways we have messed up, things we don't do well enough, things we can't do. And the encouragement there is just to ask for help and support. You don't have to do it alone. So I love your invocation this morning because it's such a great reminder that we are supported, that support is available. And sometimes it's about reaching out and asking. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. You know, just the act of asking for help can be the hardest thing. But if we can do it, it can really call it in.
It's so true. And you know, I always think of that Bible verse, asking, what is it? asking and you will, I don't know.
Receive, asking you shall receive, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Yeah.
Right. That's it. And I think of my dog's translation, and it's like bark and the door will open. And that is that. So as a sparkly energy of creation, we just are lit. And then the next thing is activating our free choice and asking or creating with that energy. So the asking piece is so important. And when we're young and we're just growing up and dealing with the day-to-day challenges, it's sometimes, I think it's even exacerbated even more than when we're feeling like older and like an adult, like we're supposed to have it all together. It feels like even more like it's so hard to reach out of our bubbles and ask.
Yeah, and a lot of that's about emotional safety, right? Who can we trust? Who can really receive the messiness that is us? That is something that I definitely struggled with a lot growing up. I suffered from severe depression for years in high school, and a lot of me not asking for help was this interesting parallel belief. On one hand, I'm so messed up that there's just no hope, no one can help me. But on the other hand, I'm not really that messed up. Like other people have it so much worse than I do. So who am I to ask for help? And I think it's that interesting paradox of simultaneously feeling too messed up, but also other people have it a lot worse. And I think a lot of people end up in that intersection. And so one of my messages, especially when I speak in high school, is the power of asking for help. And one of the signs of secure attachment is like if you ask one person for help and they're not able to help you or not available to help you, you ask another person. But I think so often there's this idea, if I ask one person, I tried and they rejected me or they couldn't help, and so I'm just bad and not worthy. And so much of this journey, I think, is embracing our own worthiness, and that's also admitting our own fallibility, our own challenges. And so one of the things I say often is I feel like the biggest leap for people is not like going from good to great. I think the biggest leap is from 0 to 1. It's like from not asking to help to asking for help, to not
Mm.
starting something to taking the very first step.
Mm. And so I bet you have some things that you tell the kids to help you take the steps from 0 to 1.
Yes, absolutely. Um, one of the things I share is stories of people who are the best in the world at what they do, and say these aren't the people who make fewer mistakes than everyone else. These are actually the people who make more mistakes than everyone else. So one of the call
Mm.
and responses that I do is I have to make mistakes to become great. And really embracing the power of learning through experimentation, through messing up, and saying the fact that you're messing up means that you're learning. If you were perfect at something, okay, that would mean you need to take some other step to learn it. And I know your background in bilingual education, I'm sure you've seen this a lot. To learn another language, you have to make mistakes. Like there's no way to get good at any language without continuously messing up and learning from it.
Exactly, exactly. And I just want to pop it back up into that sparkly white light for a second, because in highest truth, there are no such thing as mistakes.
Hmm.
It's just the energy of creation choosing, asking to express itself in a certain way, and it gets feedback, gets vibrational feedback from it all. And you decide whether you liked it or not, and you keep on pursuing it.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective because I think the idea of a mistake is we have an expectation and the outcome didn't meet our expectation. And so we call that a mistake,
Yeah.
right? We thought it was going to be something that ended up being something else. But to your point, if we come at it from a place of really trusting that like everything is guiding us, is leading us, is educating us, then wonderful. I had a different experience than I anticipated. Okay, that might cause some discomfort for sure. And what kind of growth is going to come from that?
I just love the thought of like, working day to day with kids, it gets super, super practical. And doing the work that I do now is a lot about getting highest truth perspective on things. And so when I get highest truth perspective on who I am or who a child is that they're infinite divine perfection. And it's impossible for them to make a mistake. And wonder if we were able to remind our babies as they grow up, you are absolutely perfect, and you get to express yourself with all of this energy, and what feedback comes your way, you get to choose. You're choosing. Okay, so this is feedback. Do you like it? Okay, well, what would you like to choose instead? Because you're magical and you have everything you need. I think that was
Yes.
one of the major reasons why I got out of education the hard way, by the way,
Mm.
was that I couldn't really really touch. I couldn't spend enough time on helping kids operate from their magic and their divinity. And I wasn't really tuned into all of that except for the magic. I knew that they were magical because I helped raise kids and I got to watch them grow up, and I just knew how fascinating they were. And when we stick them in education and in classrooms, sometimes they just get so overlooked, and we're teaching them so many things that sometimes they could just learn on the computer. We're not tending to the person a lot of times, and to teaching them how to stay connected to their magic and how to honor their magic and how to honor other people's magic. And so I love that. I know that you do that. I know that you talk to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Two things really strike me about what you just said. The first is emphasizing choice over compliance, because compliance is just basically saying, I'm in a power role. You should do this because it's how it's supposed to be done or because I say so. Choice is really about, you have a choice in this. You're going to get certain feedback, to your point, based on that choice, either sort of universal feedback or specific feedback from a person or a situation. So are you liking this type of feedback? What kind of choices could you make differently? It's really about giving agency, because compliance is just about denying agency, right? It's like, you have to submit because I say so. And choice is really about, you always have a choice, which I believe is true. I think we always have a choice. There's certain consequences with those choices, or certain feedback. I like that language that you use. And we can always make that choice. So that's the first part. And secondly, in the classroom, yeah, I have so much compassion for educators, because when your classroom's full of 30 students, many of whom have all kinds of challenging situations and backgrounds and varying educational levels, of course, educators want to give them that individualized attention. And often, between the pressures of behavioral management, between curriculum demands from, a district level or wherever it's coming from, there's just so much. And so the fact that educators show up every day, really, in my mind, it's like, I'm so grateful for that, because it's a very challenging profession with a lot of people having opinions about it. And to your point, I think it's also important to continue to focus on, yes, the whole child, the inner magic and the divinity of the child, and saying each of these children is manifesting that in their unique ways, and they need different types of support. And it's not on the teacher to provide all that support. It's not on the parent or parents to provide all that support. It's on the community to come together. And we really need people who are organizing and supporting that.
That whole village, the whole village takes us all to raise that child. And I think that was one of the hardest things that I really felt on my shoulders as an educator, that I was responsible for 90 10-year-olds a day. And most of them had 4 parents, because there were a lot of them were divorced, and it was not community. I mean, we were like literally dressing them, brushing their teeth, doing their homework for them, teaching them everything. And it's just too much. So I know that when we did have amazing outside, I want to say intervention in some ways, outside contribution of amazing people like you, but like nobody's like you because you're Blake. But like, it was always like refreshing to have them be able to see in the eyes of another adult and hear different messages that, that really can touch them and support them in becoming all that they can be.
Thank you. I really appreciate the privilege of that role. Also with students, like to come in, I beatbox, I rap, and so the assemblies are very fun. They're full of music, and I'm often reinforcing things their teachers have been telling them in the classroom about the power of yet. It's not that you can't do it, you just haven't done it yet. It's not that you're not good at this, you just haven't mastered it yet. So I'm often reinforcing, but just in different language, maybe a little more like music and interactivity. And so I really feel like I'm hand in hand in partnership with educators and parents in supporting the students.
Mm-hmm. It's and you're cool, and you're amazing. So that the cool, amazing aspect really pulls in their attention. They're like, "Whoa, yeah, that's what my teacher said just the other day, but it wasn't as cool as Blake just said it." Yo.
Oh, thanks. And that's the goal. Is that, so, like I teach them how to beatbox, and if maybe the listener's not familiar with beatboxing, it's where
Yeah.
you make drum sounds with your mouth.
Yeah, do some,
And
do
I'm
some.
not too sure how it's going to come through in the microphone, but it's a
Yeah.
little something like.
Yeah, actually did overwhelm it a little bit.
Oh, well. Anyway, it's
We'll
a
go
little,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, you just beatbox. Yeah. How do we
But yeah,
get
so I
back
teach
there?
the kids how to beatbox. I teach the kids how to rap. And ultimately, it's about learning something new, being willing to have fun with it, even if we're not perfect at it when we start.
Hey, Blake, I know that you share your music and your rap with the kids in the assembly for free. Do you think you could share a little bit here with us today?
Absolutely. Let's put on, speaking of free, let's put on one of my songs called Free. It's the first song from my new album, Remix to Reality. And it really speaks to this idea of like owning your inner power and what's possible when you listen to yourself and take action from there. So yeah, let's roll it.
Okay. Okay.
Been a long time. Should've left you without Blake being a step two. I told y'all, hold on, now let's go on. The wait was so long.
6 years coming, sound of the struggle. Back-breaking beat making sound of the rubble. Could barely bear the lion, sound of the jungle. All balls in the air, sound of the juggle. Sound of the hustle, sounds like silence. Speaking from the stage while I planned in private. Staying so fly, certified pilot. Focus on the flow like I'm worried about the climate. Petrified with perfection, keeping me so froze. Scared to share, it was keeping me so close. Threaded the threats, like when you so close. Shedded the stoicism, I'm getting so close. Living authentic and finding my worthiness. Spend my whole life being impervious, but I'm certain if I'm turning from living in a tower, I will change the world when I step into my power.
All my life I've been running from everything, looking for something that could save me. But now I'm here. All I need is calling to me. I just gotta listen till I'm free.
If I could tick all the boxes that were available, then my position would be unassailable. Need fire rhymes so I won't feel shade. Need straight A's so I won't feel shame. But though I made the grade and graduated to greatness, the hole in my soul brought me back to the matrix. When I define my worth by others' opinions, I would never know the strength that I've been given. I'd been living to please other people, deferential to a fault like I was never equal. But now I found the fault lines and I'll let them break. Time to rock the planet with the tectonic plates, cause I'm not afraid to change. Bring on the eruption. Can't burn bright unless I trust the combustion. Soaring from the depths, at least that's what I'm hoping. I'ma be the mountain that rose from the ocean.
All my life I've been running from everything, looking for something that could save me. But now I'm here. All I need is calling to me. I just gotta listen till I'm free.
Have patience, love the uncertainty, even when faced with the urgency. Like everything in life is an emergency, and I'm stuck in a state of perpetual purgatory. I'm 33, passion burns 3rd degree, like my PhD. Yeah, I'm talking about my 3rd degree. That's just nerdy me, kicking out my demons here. It's my time to shine, since now I'm in my Jesus year. Feeling clean and clear, coming to terms with my scars. Ready to rock the rock between Venus and Mars. Looking up, cause I plan to be ascending, since I contain the universe within me.
I just gotta
So forget your perfect harmony.
listen till I'm
Just be who you were called to be.
listen till I'm
There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in, so sing.
All my life I've been running from everything, looking for something that could save me. But now I'm here. All I need is calling out to me. And I just gotta listen till I'm free.
I love that. That was so epic. Awesome. And I just want to say to the Leading with Light listeners right now, Blake has been so generous to contribute a free gift to our Leading with Light Cosmic Treasure Box. You get to download his newest album, Remix Your Reality, for free at www.blakespeaks.com. That is such a beautiful, generous gift, Blake. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put that link in the show notes so you can get that later. And feel free to share this interview with your friends and they can get that too.
Awesome. Thank you, Sky. It's a privilege to be able to share the music. That's why I started making music, was just out of the love and passion. And I'm really grateful to be able to continue to spread that light through the music as well.
Yeah. So when you rap, I mean, I've seen you live on stage, just out of the audience. And you just, what, I mean, I can see what happens, but I'd like to hear what happens. How does this just literally come through you?
Yeah, so freestyle rap, it's improvisational rap. So it's made up on the spot, usually from audience suggestions, which is how people know that it's actually being made up. I didn't pre-write it ahead of time. And it's so fun because you could describe it as channeling. I'm just very open. I like to describe it as radical acceptance. Like there are no mistakes. Like whatever comes through is exactly what's supposed to come through. And if it doesn't rhyme, or maybe it doesn't make sense exactly the way I intend it to, it's just going to rhyme in the next line, or it's just going to make sense in the next instance. So there's always this flow that's running through. And a lot of it, I feel like, is life. It's saying we don't know what's going to happen from moment to moment. And sometimes it can feel like, oh, this is a problem, or this is uncomfortable. And it's like, okay, cool. How do we make it good from here? How do we take that next step? I always like to say the most important step is not the first step or the last step, but the next step.
That's beautiful. So I can imagine that when you're doing that, there's an element of trust and self-love and just spaciousness to like just let it flow. Because when you're trying to do good and you got this perfectionist energy running, it's kind of, your body literally gets tight. And
oh yeah, self-judgment is the biggest hindrance to freestyle rap, because the second I say, oh, that wasn't funny enough, or yeah, it didn't make sense, or it didn't rhyme, I stop. I'm like, oh, and then I stop, right? Versus I'm fully trusting, to your point, I'm just allowing whatever's coming through, saying, so when I'm rapping, it's this experience. It's not about being the most clever or the most perfect or the coolest flow. It's just about being in this presence with someone else or a group of people and allowing it to just roll.
I just think that's really high level functioning.
Thank you. I appreciate the reflection. On days when I don't feel like I'm the highest level functioning, it's nice to hear that. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I want to acknowledge, I can tell that there would be a lot of work to get to that place, just the internal work of self-love and allowing yourself to be exactly who you are. And what a beautiful model to model that to children. I'm grateful for you, and I want to acknowledge you on a soul level that, you know, you had to do whatever you needed to do to get to this place to make this kind of influence. And it doesn't feel like that's actually, I think it's taken a lot.
Well, thank you. And one of the things I do love to share with students is that often it is you doing something you love, you going for something, you know, you apply for a job, you audition for something you care about, and it doesn't work out the way you want. And I talk about my own America's Got Talent story of making it, you know, through the first few rounds, all the way up to Madison Square Garden for the celebrity judges and 3,000 people in the audience. And yeah, and freestyle rapping, to your point, and saying, you know, I'm going to take that courageous step and show up on stage and make up a freestyle rap about a random audience member. And then, you know, 2/3 of the way through the freestyle, Howard Stern, one of the judges, X's me. And in that moment, I have a choice, right? Can say, oh, I'm just, you know, Howard doesn't like it. Maybe I should stop. Or like, you know, maybe I should just try to finish. But like, wait a second. What if we can use everything, you know, for the power of good? Like, what if I could take this problem and turn it into an opportunity? And so I actually use that as the final 4 lines of my rap. I said something like, time is running out, but you know I'm not stressing. I came to reach the people and to teach a lesson. And yo, it doesn't matter. If Howard gets to Xing, I'm still gonna keep rapping, no question. And the crowd went wild.
Yes, that's awesome.
Thank you. And so, you know, I told the story in my TEDx talk, so I don't necessarily need to repeat it here. But, you know, at the end of the day, I didn't make it through. Like, unfortunately, it goes to the golden buzzer. And I didn't make it through to the next round. And at the time, it was very disappointing, but it ended up being one of the biggest blessings, because if I made it one more round further, America's Got Talent would have owned the rights to my music, all my music, for the next 2 years. And I wouldn't
Wow.
be able to share my music with your amazing listeners, with the students I speak to. So in many ways, it was an incredible gift that it didn't work out. And also, to your point, really saying, like, acknowledging the self-judgment I had. Oh, I should have done better. I could have done this differently. But then trusting that this is exactly what needed to happen. And it definitely was.
Whoa, what an amazing story. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, I love how you turned that into um, that was on the spot that you had to make that decision. And
Yes.
that's some of the most powerful decisions I think we can make in our lives, right? On the spot.
Yeah, and trusting our own inner wisdom, our own experience, our own intuition. Most of my anxiety comes from worrying about how things will go in the future. When I'm actually in it, even if it's not going how I would like it to go, I adapt. We figure it out. And I think that's such a helpful reminder. For any time we're in the midst of some stressful anticipation, a presentation, an event, whatever we've got going on in the future, and just saying, you know what, I am resourceful, I am loved, I am supported, I have help, I can ask for help, and even if it doesn't turn out the way I want in the moment, like, it will be okay. And it's easier to say that when we're feeling empowered than that space of anxiety. But I often need to remind myself of that. So hopefully this can serve as a reminder for anyone listening who also needs to hear that message right now.
Absolutely. Whoa. Well, that is a great place to kind of sit with that a little bit. And we need to take a break and hear from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back, Blake.
Perfect.
Hello, beautiful souls. Rare and special event. Like a super rare unicorn sighting, Sky is teaching some of the foundational Theta Healing certification courses online. It is one blazing rainbow of a portal opening up for a life-changing experience, all from the comfort of your own home. If you're interested in joining me, learning from my years of service to this international community, it's time to make your dreams come true and share with you one of the most powerful tools used to bring us into alignment, direct connection to the highest vibration of all that is, to ramp up your manifestation skills, all while creating impeccable discernment and empowering you with a map to the universe and beyond that will serve you the rest of this life and throughout lifetimes to come. If you're ready to step in, this is your time. If you're ready to clear your limiting beliefs and trauma that you haven't been able to get rid of this whole lifetime, pain or suffering, and general overall cosmic crap that you may think has been serving you, and move forward to be the most epic, brilliant, sparkly representation of self on this earth in a human body, this is one of the most potent steps I've discovered over the last almost 2 decades throughout all my travels, hanging out with all these healers all over the world that can help you get that for yourself. Taking these foundational certification courses with me after I've helped write and create these very foundational courses of Theta Healing that have made it internationally renowned and traveled around the world with the founder Vianna Steibel and her husband Guy is a unique, powerful transmission, a download in itself that you don't want to miss. Plus, I'm effing magical. After all, cell does talk to cell, and light travels faster than the speed of light, and light just is. For more details and how to register for upcoming courses, go to www.skyislimitless.com. Go to the Work with Sky section, and then you'll see all about Theta Healing certification. That's www.skyislimitless.com. Or you can just go to the show notes and click on the link there.
Well, I'm back here with Dr. Blake Brande, and he is rocking our hearts and souls. Yeah.
Thank you, Sky.
So I want to ask, what is your vision? What is your big vision? Where do you want to go with this? You are already working with thousands of kids all around the world. So
Thank you. So my vision has really grown organically through working with schools over the past 16 years. It just started out doing these motivational assemblies. I did them pro bono for the first 10 years because I just love helping kids, and principals would call me up and say, hey, Blake, you're into hip hop and education. Our kids love hip hop. they're not always into education. Can you come and connect the two? And so I said yes, and I love doing it. And then about 6-7 years ago, a principal just said, hey, we could pay you a little something. I said, that's amazing. You get paid to help kids? Like, that's wonderful. And so I've gradually, with a lot of support along the way, turned it into a full-time career. And my vision has grown out of working with all of these schools over the years and all these administrators who really care about the students and staff and parents in their communities. And so it started with student assemblies and then grew to doing staff professional development for teachers. And then principals said, can you also talk to all the parents? We want to get them on board with this growth mindset message. So I started doing parent nights and just seeing the ways that parents not only needed to hear these strategies to help their kids be happier and more resilient and less stressed out, but they also needed the strategies to feel happier and more resilient and less stressed out for themselves. And then principal said, Blake, we want to continue this message all throughout the year. Can you put something together? So I created a video program to have videos that the students can watch every month and have in-class activities to remind themselves and learn about this growth mindset and grit. And so my vision is really to continue listening, to say, how can I most be of service? What do you need? What do your students need? What do your teachers need? What do your parents need? Because for a long time, I thought I had to have it all figured out. I had to have the plan in advance. And I had to, execute this brilliant plan. And what I just learned is every time I tried to do that, it just wasn't on point. It wasn't what people really needed. And so the more I started just listening and creating based on what people were asking for, the more powerful it was, the more impactful it was. And ironically, the easier it was to create a business around it, because people were, I wasn't having to try to convince people. They were saying, oh, thank you, I've been waiting for this. So whenever people are thinking about what they want to do for a business, my encouragement is always like, listen and talk to people and listen and listen and listen. What are people really asking for? What's the language they're using to describe what they want? So my vision is to keep listening.
Oh, that is so beautiful. It's so true. Whoa. Okay, so let's do this little thing here really quick. You open to this?
Totally.
Okay, so close your eyes and feel into your heart. And I want you to imagine like you have this magic spaceship and you can just poof into the future. And you can just look around. You've been listening. You've been developing these programs because your students and the parents and the principals and the teachers have been letting you know what they need, and you're serving them. And I want you to imagine looking around and into your experience. What do you see?
Yeah, I see an arena full of children and parents and teachers, and we are rocking out. It's this incredible inspirational concert meets personal growth event, and the kids are laughing and they're learning and they're dancing and they're singing and they're beatboxing and they're rapping, and it's really connecting the joy of learning with the things the kids are passionate about. And that to me is like that vision of the future.
So beautiful. And how does that feel in your body?
Oh, it feels amazing. It just feels like such alignment for all the gifts that I've been given to connect together and to really bring to the world and help children realize their own gifts, their own passions, and help reignite those for parents and teachers who might feel burned out, who might feel like, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have started doing art, singing, dancing, creating, expressing myself, and saying it's not too late. Now's the time.
So imagine yourself being surrounded by all these children. And I can imagine just that feeling of alignment. Imagine that feeling of alignment in your body. And what does it feel like?
It feels effortless and energizing. And, it's like all of the work, the hard work, the personal development work, the struggles leading up to just being, like not having to work at it, just to be able to be, and who you are and who I am in this moment, like that is enough.
It just feels like the smile on your face is almost like your face might hurt to smiling so much. And then this sea of smiles and joy, and kids so respond to energy, just like little animals, because we are animals. And when you are in alignment and they see an adult in alignment sharing their gifts, there's a sensation a feeling, a palpable feeling in the body. And so I could just see that rippling out in the sea of the students all around you. And I could just feel the adults relaxing and going, oh, thank God somebody's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's safety. I think that's it. It's safe. It's a safety to be able to relax, to trust. I am held. I am seen. I am protected. I am encouraged. Like, this person is here for my best interest. And that's a rare gift. To your point, I think a lot of things in the world, we don't feel emotionally safe. And so, yeah, creating that sense of relief, of relaxation, of fun, of safety, that's really my dream.
So see that there, feel that in the room, reaching out all the way to the principal and all the way outside of the building, into the neighborhood, into the town, into the state, into our country, and all across the world, in every country, knowing that you are a part of all that is, you're a part of that group consciousness, and that in that vibrational alignment, it's not just affecting those people in the room, it can be affecting the whole entire world. Every little child around the world that is on this planet, in their heart, needing that. Just know that it's touching that.
You might
because
even say it's leading with light.
You might even say it's leading with light. So just feel that there. Would you like to have creator's perspective on what it feels like that when you're in alignment, it's limitless, truly.
Yeah, I welcome that. Thank you.
Your impact can be instantaneously, spontaneously, in the highest and best way felt around the world. Serving in the service of children and adults who care for children, and teach children. Oh, wow, I'm feeling relaxed.
Oh, thank you, Sky. I so appreciate your attunement and your energy. I think it's really powerful, the work you do, both in your own healing work, in your podcast, and just in your life. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. You know this. We've been in rooms together. We haven't had a chance to really connect. I mean, we've connected. We said hi. We've hugged, but it's interesting because I feel our vibration in a room is just like really all encompassing. And so it's like we may be across the room, but I can feel that connection with you. And so I just want to acknowledge today that this is a very special moment that we can just actually take some time and really connect and talk. And I'm just so grateful for what you're doing in the world. And literally, I just watched that kind of sonic boom around the earth, and I felt that spontaneously in my heart, in my bones, in my cells, of just that thankfulness, that gratitude of the alignment and the creativity, because you're totally tapped in to this energy of creation, which is the act of creating, whatever you want to call it. God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Great Sparkle Pony, no worries. It just is. And you're fully in alignment in that. And when people like you are in alignment and express that, that is the true expression of that quote unquote God energy, that bliss energy in form, incarnate. And thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I really want to share encouragement with your listeners too, that if they are on that path, that's wonderful. If they haven't started that path, that's great too. I think so often there's this pressure to have it figured out. What is that alignment for me? I should already know that. And so often I find myself in self-judgment when don't feel like I'm quite there yet. Power of yet, always. And so I appreciate that vision that you shared, and also just want to offer that encouragement that it's a process and it changes. Like what's in alignment for you today is not necessarily going to be the same thing as in alignment for you in 5 years because of the growth path, right? Like there's more, there's different, and it can be scary, but also so rich and powerful. And I love your imagery. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yes. Thanks for being open to that. And 5 years, heck, 5 minutes, we might be dancing around a different reality to a relationship to alignment. I feel like that's the constant game that we have an opportunity of doing. And when we're in alignment and when we're present, well, actually alignment really happens in the present moment anyways. So when we
Yes.
are in the present moment, we have more capacity to become aligned. And then, like you were saying a little bit before, like how, sometimes it's easy to pop into the future and we start getting into that anxiety. And it is because we're anticipating and we're in that future, we're away from that present moment. And using our breath, as you must do, I mean, obviously you do,
Yeah.
when you're singing, it's just that breath bringing in that energy of creation into that moment, bringing you back to that present moment. You'll always be dancing closer and closer to that alignment.
Yes, the power of the present. Oh, such a good reminder. And that's one of the things I can often know it intellectually, but then just the practice of like coming back into it day to day. Oh, that's the work. It's like, it's such the work.
I've mapped out this little thing, and I've spoken about it a couple times on this show, but I think it's good to talk about it right now. You know the infinity sign?
Hmm.
You know how it
The
like if you
Mobius,
saw
yeah.
it, yeah, the Mobius strip, like right in the middle where it crosses over, I think of that as the now, right?
Mm,
It's like that's where we find that alignment, that unconditional love, the support, the bliss, the ease, the flow, the gratitude, the impact that we want to make of ourself in alignment. And when we go into the future or the past, that's where we find that anxiety and stress. On either wing of that Mobius strip, of that infinity sign, we have the other feelings of anxiety or stress, whether we're tripping out on the past or thinking on the future. It's that we're feeling stressed, anxious, depressed, lost.
yeah.
And if we can just go back into our breath, we can find our way to the middle. And I actually have a couple of things. Like if we find ourselves in the past, what I've found is like we can work on some of the stuff that's coming up, working on that past so we can clear it, so we can come into the present. But when we are tripping on the future, it's a little bit more about, oh, instead of freaking out about the future or feeling anxious about the future, what is it that I like to create? What would I like?
Yeah.
And then actively co-creating that with the highest vibration of all that is, and saying, okay, my job is to figure out the what, your job is to figure out the how. I'm going back to camp out in the middle, in the now, and to just go into my breath and be that love. And it's a constant dance through that Mobius strip. It's like there's not very much stillness until you land in that middle, in that now.
Yeah, yeah, and that you have permission to create, and it's okay, it's good to want to create. I think so often we get shamed as children and as adults for wanting something, and so I know for myself there was a lot of deprogramming around it's okay for me to, yeah, want to create something, and that it doesn't have to be perfect, and doesn't have to be what my parents would necessarily approve of, or what my friends might think is cool or good, or or what society would praise as valuable, and that's hard. I think that's really the work too, is just you have permission, to your point, to have that vision and to trust and to allow, and like, oh, it feels so good, but it's such an edge. It takes so much courage. So I
Hey,
appreciate
how
the way you encourage people. Yeah.
that's so awesome. Well, I don't just encourage people. I've learned how to like kind of tap into the energy of creation, and we can actually ask for that teaching in ourselves. And
Yeah.
we call that as a download. So let's call that out as a download right now. Okay. Would you like to know what it feels like in every cell of your body, highest vibrations, perspective, and how to do those three things that you just said, which were express yourself completely and safely, the highest and best way. Where were the three? Doggone it, I forgot. I can figure it out too.
I said express yourself, that it's essentially like safe for you to desire something, to create something.
Okay, I can make up something there.
Something like that. Yeah.
How about we do some downloads of like what it feels like to be safe to express your alignment in the world easily and effortlessly and joyfully,
Yes, please.
and that it's safe. It's safe for you to express yourself creatively. and have it be received, that you don't have to like judge it with the perfection all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, just so it's just like poof, woof. If you all like those downloads out there, you just say heaven, yes.
Heaven, yes.
Sweet. Beautiful. I love this. So I have one last question for you today, but I would love it if you could come back, because I think that we can talk for a really long time.
Oh, we totally could. Absolutely.
I have so many questions for you, and I'd love to even know more specifics about your programs and what you talk to your kids about. But what do you say to kids, or to even people, because I know you work with a lot of adults too, who are wanting to step more into their dreams and lead with their light?
The biggest piece of advice I would offer is to take the first step that calls to you, trusting that the next step will be a little more in alignment, and the next step will be a little more in alignment, and the next step. To your point, that we live in the eternal present, right? So it's just this eternal alignment of feeling out the balance. Balance is a dynamic act. Balance is not stable. Balance is moving off balance and then off balance and then off balance, but coming back a little more to the center, a little more to the center. And so I think the biggest thing that stops us is the idea that we should have it figured out before we start. And I think starting is how you figure it out. Take one step. If it's in the wrong direction, great. You're going to figure that out. You'll take a different step. It's a little more in the right direction, a little more in the wrong direction. Like, this is the only way to do it. I think there's this idea that if somehow we just had the perfect download in the perfect moment, it would be totally clear and we would have it all figured out for the rest of our lives. And it's like, no, the download comes from each step. Hey, how's this feel? What's this? Yeah. So I think that's the key, is that you don't figure it out, then start. You start and figure it out.
Yeah, sweet. I hear a little like living life, just experimenting. Like, you can't make it wrong. You just like what feels the best, following those feelings of what feels most expressed, what feels most joyful, what feels in most ease.
Yeah. And surrounding yourself by people who embrace you at each of those steps.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part. Because if you're on people who judge you all the time, it's really hard to keep taking steps when every time you take a step, someone's like, are you sure you want to take a step? Is that the right step? So I so appreciate the community that you create around you and with your light, because I think that shows people, hey, there are people out there who do support you, who are cheering you on, who might coach you, who are in your camp and in your corner and want you to succeed. For you, not because it's like what they want for themselves, but because what you want for yourself. Yeah.
True. I feel like on some level, I'm just this cosmic cheerleader.
Yeah.
And I think that I really got that from working with children. It's like I was able to see the light in each child. And even if they were naughty, I mean, they were tending to probably be my favorites, and just finding the magic and helping them. And I love what you were saying earlier about really listening to what your people needed and how it was organic. It was in the moment. It was this act of co-creating in the moment what needed to be served. And I feel like as a school teacher back in the day, that's how I best taught. Yeah. So
yeah, seeing your students for who they actually are and what they actually need in that moment.
Yeah.
Versus I have a lesson plan and you're gonna fit it no matter what.
No, that never worked for me. I just download it in the shower before I go to school or something. Oftentimes I had kids at different ages and I had to like come up with different curriculum. And so it was a real blessing that, you just get to meet the child where they are, and how can we meet the moment? How can we meet that creative expression of every moment as it is and just go from there?
Love it.
I love it too. Hey, it's been such a pleasure having you join me here on Leading with Light today. I love what you're up to in the world, and I'm so grateful for it. And I know how much the planet needs people just like you. Thank you so much, Blake.
Thank you, Sky. It's a privilege to be with you.
Don't forget, Blake has been so generous to contribute a free gift to our Leading with Light Cosmic Treasure Box. You can download his newest album, Remix Your Reality, for free at www.blakespeaks.com. I'll put the link in the show notes and you can get it there.
You've been listening to Leading with Light. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every Tuesday for more exciting ways to help you pop into true divine connection and clarity, live in the energy of limitless possibilities, and delight in the love playground. Get your magic on and make this world a happier place. Yo.